saving from Coach, and then roll into questions.
Yeah, so good solid week. Finals week, of course, so we are through with that. So I told him today, we kind of clapped it up, and I hopefully had a good semester and into it. And you kind of get to think like a professional athlete for the next month or so. They don't have any other duties or responsibilities other than their body and their health and the basketball, and then of course Christmas, so they'll get some family time there. But kind of a weird week. Practiced a little early, gave them kind of a day off yesterday, and just kind of did some skill work the day before that, and then got back after it today, and then we'll start the Wright State prep in the normal 2 days before a game work tomorrow. But got some people I think a little bit healthier and some things like that. So yeah, feel good about where we are. No games to really talk about or report back because it's been a minute since we played one of those. It's kind of been a weird stretch where it felt like it took a while to play the first game of the year. Then we played that one and had a little break before Pitt, not a long one, but a little break. And then we got the 3 in a row when we went to Puerto Rico, so those came in a hurry, and then ever since then it's been like play a game, wait a while, play a game, wait a while, and so we haven't been able to get in any great rhythm from just a structure standpoint, but still excited to play when we get there Monday. That'll be a fun game, the kid game. It's always loud. I think there's 6,000 plus of those little suckers coming into the Coliseum, so I may have to get the earplugs out, or just put on the big beats or something. I don't know. It may look a little different for that one, but they do create great energy, and so it's a fun game for us, and our kids will get excited for that. And then Niagara, of course, is a 2 o'clock game to finish before the Christmas break. So 2 left, and would love to finish these off and continue kind of what we're building and some of the momentum I think that we have right now.
I know the early tip suits the kids, but any concerns about 10 a.m. tip?
Not really. We played pretty early in Puerto Rico too, so those were I think 11 a.m. tips. I mean, it'll be different for us. Like we won't have shoot around. We may give them like literally their pregame meal. I think we're going to give to them the night before and say, hey, here's your breakfast burrito and here's your fruit cup and here's your but you got to take a picture of it at 7 a.m. and make sure that you actually did get up and that you ate it and took care of yourself. And I think we have a mature enough team to do that. And then get here at 8:30, and that's when they're here an hour and a half before a game, and we'll go through our normal routine at that point and tip it up at 10 a.m. and be done by noon.
Any girls walking tomorrow in the ceremony?
We do not.
You
No,
don't have anybody tomorrow?
we don't. Yeah, we'll be practicing.
You mentioned those lapses of times between games. I know that you'd like to play more, but is that like an advantage in a way that you can kind of have a lot of enthusiasm if you waited a while and then to finally get a game that maybe that helps you a little bit?
A little bit of both. The enthusiasm at times, but when they don't have a game in sight, the enthusiasm for practice may not quite be, as a coach where you want it to be, but it does allow you to work on quite a bit. You're not preparing for another opponent, so your focus is solely on yourselves. And for coaches, same thing. We can go recruit a little bit, or you can focus in, on ourselves. We, had a big hour-long analytic meeting yesterday to kind of look at just us, nobody else, just our program and where we at 9 games in, and usually gives you enough data at this point to look at some lineups and different stuff. So just let you focus on some things when you're playing somebody all the time that you just would probably put on the back burner.
Have you had enough of a sample size to get an opinion of how good your backcourt is?
Probably enough. I know they're good.
Yeah.
They're really, really good. But they're going to get tested in different ways. And so, no, I just need to go through some of those situations a little bit more with them. But I know they're talented. They showed us something against Penn State and those guards and that backcourt, which is pretty elite. So felt pretty, after that and seeing it, I feel better about it. Do I have enough 9 games in? No. More with Jordan just because we've been through it. So there's just that kind of trust a little bit more because I've seen her do it than the other ones. But this group is talented at that position. There's no doubt.
From the back baseline to the foul line, that's where you guys make your hay, right? That's where you're going to...
Well, we can, for sure. Again, I don't know it'll look quite like this in Big 12 play night in and night out. You're just talking about Big 12, the elite of the elite guards, across the country. But, we're not going to go away from what we do. It just may not look like it did against a Delaware State or some teams like that we just really can get after and turn over at a high rate. But no, that's the strength of the team. But I think our post plays come a long way just in 9 games. We didn't trust a whole lot of each other. I didn't think the first couple games assists were down. We weren't throwing it into the post when we needed to be. And I think now we've had a conscious effort of getting it in there and allowing them to kind of show us what they're capable of, and so Tabby's had some good games. Kylie finally got her big game the other night, so I was excited for Kylie to get going. Tears is just getting back, so there's, Kai is the glue to the group, you don't really count her as a post, but she's kind of more of a guard that that can do multiple things. So feel really good about the guards. I like where we're at. We're wanting to share the ball. That's what we are wanting to do. We aren't all the time great passers, but we're willing passers now, where I didn't know, I was a little worried about that coming in. I just didn't know if we were willing passers based on what I had seen previously.
Can they pass too much? Sometimes you watch them and it looks like they're trying to make the perfect pass for the closest when they're giving up shots that are good shots.
Well, you can. You can overpass a little bit. I don't know that we've done that a ton.
Okay.
You do have to be careful of it some, and the more you pass, the more opportunity to possibly turn it over. Sometimes just throwing it up to the rim, that can be okay too, as long as it's a good shot. Throw it up there and give yourself a chance for an offensive rebound. And we want great shots. We want to give up good ones to get great ones. And if that's the mindset and that's the philosophy they'll buy into, I think we'll be harder to guard. Just we can score at multiple positions, multiple ways. And if you'll move the ball, which is faster than the dribble, which they don't always believe me on that one, but it's like, hey, line up on one end and you take off running. I'm going to baseball pass and let's see who gets down there first, right? The ball will always beat the dribble, so just trying to get them to buy into that.
What's your comfort level with the depth that you guys have built up? I know started the season obviously with not the same numbers, but
yeah, it's a group of 10, which is fine. That as long as we no injuries and things like that. If we have the group of 10, that's plenty of bodies. And getting more comfortable with each kid. Whether they get a lot of minutes early or minutes late. We've got to continue to develop the roles. I think that's still not quite all the way defined with all the roles that we have on this team, but I think they're starting to get defined a little bit more each time we play.
When JJ went down on her foot there, and you got people telling you she's got a triple-double, was that in the back of your mind a little bit when?
Yeah, just a little bit. I heard it a couple times. I've always been really careful. I learned a long time ago when I was a younger coach. We had a game that was out of hand. We're going into the conference tournament. I had a four-player at the time who was one of the best defenders, and I think she needed a rebound or a point. Something into a double-double, triple-double type situation. She hurts her ankle and misses the entire conference tournament. And literally so now I'm still nervous as heck. I want the kids to get the individual attention and those accolades when they're that close, but at the same time, is it really worth that just for everything else coming up behind it? So she was okay. They gave me the okay. We still had the whole fourth quarter to play, and it wasn't really about the statistics more than I just wanted the kid to play. They only get 30 some odd chances to play in a game, and just to keep them out a whole quarter. I didn't love that piece of it. We didn't have a game behind it. So I did tell her, I was like, hey, you got 2 or 3 minutes. So if you do it, you do it. And if you don't, then you're coming out. So, if it happens, and she did get a rebound about 5 seconds in, and so I think she kind of was cognizant of it, but didn't quite get there, but she was pretty good regardless.
Did you take a peek at the Baylor and Delaware State game at all? I noticed they beat them by 62, which is 2 less than what you guys did. Did you get any gauge from that a little bit?
I did see the score. No, I didn't even. I saw the final score. I didn't even look up the box score yet. I was on the road, so I kind of missed most of that. But I don't. It's hard to gauge probably something like that.
JJ still got Player of the Week though, so.
Yeah, no, she got the individual recognition that she needed. Triple-double or something would have been really, really neat, but that's not why we don't really play the game for that all the time. I think you got to be careful if you start focusing on the wrong thing.
Getting back to Kylie, since you had her, what have you focused on with her? What have you? I know she was really not even much of a post player when she was at Colorado before she came here, right?
Yeah, Kylie, you're right. Yeah. Kylie, yeah. No, she's not. She's not a post. She doesn't even like us to call her that. That's not what she is. I don't really ever want kids to play outside of who they are. You can be a 5 player, but not necessarily have to play back to basket. Just be the player that you are regardless of the position. And we tell kids that in recruiting all the time. I don't need to define you offensively. Now, I do have to define you a little bit defensively because you got to guard a certain person, or if we're going to press, you're going to be in a certain area. But never do I want to limit or define kids on the offensive end. I think my job as a head coach is to help her based on the skill set that she has. So when we have her in versus when we have, say, Tavi, and we will play 2 completely different ways because their skill sets are entirely different. I don't want Tavi to be Kylie or Kylie to try to be a back-to-basket bruiser kid because that's not what she is, But now she's taking really good threes. She's more efficient from 3. She's shooting it at a high level. It's still just to rebound and give us some resistance at the rim. But trying to slide her to the 4 a little bit more here lately, too, to see if I can just get her a few more minutes there, which is probably more natural position for her. We just, again, we didn't have the depth, and it's not the ideal situation in year 1. Hopefully we can get some more true back-to-basket kids in the future and get her out on the perimeter a little bit more. But, she can be a mismatch too as the 5. Right now, get a bigger, dopier 5 player and go chase Kylie around because the kid can run. She never gets tired. We have to pull her back from her running. The kid will go run on her own, get her dog and go take off on the trail and run. And no, you got to stop. We got to stop that. It's not this time of year anyway. So she'll work and she'll invest and she'll put in the time. So I was really happy she had that night the other night because we need her and we need her to play with confidence. And she's a smart, cerebral kid, but just don't call her a post player.
Well, she can open up the floor for your guards.
No, she is. She gives us so much space. Yeah. So she absolutely can open it up. She pulls the other team's big out of the paint. So now that 6'4" kid's not just standing in front of the rim contesting all the JJs or Jordans or whomever's look. So no, you can move her around and do all sorts of stuff. I want her to be a cutter because she can move without the ball, or we call it a second cutter. If you're the screener, right? Somebody curls the action and you popped, and now all of a sudden you probably are going to be the one open because the attention went to the curl or the back cut. So lots of different ways to use her, and it's still, I probably need to do a little better job still too, putting her in some of those positions. But, if she'll keep playing the way she has here lately, she's practiced a little bit better, then good things are coming for her.
Anything big come out of that analytics meeting? I know a couple weeks ago you said that you're never really surprised, it more reinforces what you thought, but is there anything that stuck out?
Not really. It was really just more of the same stuff that I guess we knew because we meet with them about every 2 weeks probably. So we just had more data and more games to go over. Nothing really, same stuff. We got to continue to rebound a little bit better. We've been elite on the defensive end. The turnover rate is really high. So it's cleaning up some of that, which was rebounding, transition defense at times. We play man, we play zone, so we have all those numbers too. So it's kind of just figuring out a few things that I won't get into on those defenses that we just need to clean up. And then being a little better in the half court, actually. It breaks it down from when you score in the first 5 seconds of the possession or 6 seconds to 11 seconds of a possession. It goes through it off an offensive rebound, off a dead ball, how fast we play off steals and some things, but on a made shot, we don't play as fast. So okay, well, why is that? Do we need to pick up tempo a little bit on a made basket? So it really gives you a lot. There was some lineup stuff that was kind of interesting, like who plays well together. You can do 2-player combos, 3-player combos, 4 or 5. You can really, it gives you every little thing that you want, almost too much. So that's why we have to meet with them because they got to help us kind of identify what the numbers are telling us. So some of those things, but it helped, but it's still what you probably what we know.
Curious, court case on Wednesday with the men. Impacts you too. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. So we would only have one. I know a Holzer would be the one, and so we're going back and forth a little bit right now with her. So I think she was a medical redshirt a year ago at Purdue, should be. I don't think that it was technically filed yet. So she would get that year back. So this would be the redshirt year for her. So if she does play, then she would be burning the year as of right now.
Obviously if it's overturned.
Yeah, but we don't know. Then so what do? You play and take the chance for 2 games? Same stuff. We're all the guys are dealing with too. It sounds like or do you wait the 2 weeks to see if something happens from that point forward? And then is it even worth doing for her because she would have still 4 years after this if she wanted it? But now you hadn't played in 2 years, so you might want to kind of go ahead and get out there and try to play. Shayla would have been impacted by it, but she got hurt, so Mosbury's out, so it doesn't help.
Is she in a position with the strength of your team being that position? Is she in a position to help you if she were eligible?
Well, it's added depth, and she's really a point guard. She could play off the ball too, so it would just, she could work herself into it. She gets practice reps, but there's times she goes on the scout team when it's time to really prepare for somebody else, so she's missing some of those reps. So it's taken minutes maybe here and there, help Jordan and JJ just a little bit. I think there would be some opportunity, but she would have to work her way into the rotation. She wouldn't be in that today.
How would you approach it? Would you talk to her and the family and just go over the alternatives? It would be up to her, or how would you?
Yeah, a little bit. We met today actually after practice. I know, and I did, just to kind of get some baseline stuff. What are you thinking? Have you followed it? I didn't see him yesterday because we were off when all this kind of happened. And so I got to get some more information just on her year last year from compliance. And I told her when I did, I'll get back with her. I think she would, if I asked you, or if you were asking me, I think she's probably leaning toward not doing anything at the moment, and probably just waiting to see what happens here in a couple weeks. It's just 2 games for us too, so.
I was curious too, and this could be, I could be totally off base here, but it looks like Tabby has been working on the left hand a little bit more. Is that something, because I noticed last year she wasn't very good with her left hand. Is that something you guys have been conscious with?
Well, it is, and people are trying to take away that, left shoulder more than, right hand, left shoulder, and that's the natural way for most righties to go. So really just trying, what's the counter then? So if people try to sit on it, Tabby, what's your counter, what's your counter? So Coach Carter coaches our post players, so the two of them are, she's in there watching film every week, and they're down on the court working on a few things. So I don't think you, as a post player, I don't think you have to have an array of 5 or 10 different moves, but you better have one and then a counter to it. And if you can go have the same move to each side, now you just same move, you just got 2 of them though, because you can go over either shoulder, and then if you have a counter to that to each side, well, that's just 4 moves. Now I don't know if you have to have a whole lot, but she's just playing with confidence again. Tabby was really, really good early, great in the summer, great in the fall, struggled a little bit as soon as kind of the season started. I think gotten a little bit of a mental funk, and now she's been really good here lately for us, and probably what we really needed, to be honest, is just at least a back-to-basket presence in there, and she's done it. She had a good career at TCU, solid season last year, and I think this could be her best one.
Ask you about Wright State. I know you're just getting into them. They're 6-4. They played Michigan State. I was looking at some of the teams. What are some of your initial thoughts of them?
They're a space U, like 5 out, kind of 4 around 1, but a lot of times it ends up being 5 out. I think a year ago they were like top 3 or 10 in the country in 3-point shooting. I mean, they can shoot it, make about 12 threes a game, I want to say, last year. So they can shoot it at all 5 positions. I think their 5 is like 2 for 10 maybe, shooting it on the year. So I don't know that she wants to really, really shoot it, but the other 4 are going to shoot it, and then they get enough space where they can, attack you. I think Michigan State got him pretty good. I haven't seen that game. That was earlier in the year. I've just watched a little bit of Bowling Green up to date. So I'll keep working on that today and start the prep here later tonight and tomorrow.
Will they shoot threes in transition if they beat you in pressure?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's just what they do. That's their identity. So yeah, no, this will be a good test from that. It will really make us have to defend the 3-point line and rebound, and our pressure may turn them over a little bit, maybe not. And if it doesn't, that's great too. We got to learn how to defend and defend the 3 in the half court.
Talking about the early tip for Education Day, and you mentioned the take-home breakfasts. Is it that rigid where they have to take a picture of it and prove that they had it, ate it all, and stuff like that?
It will be. We had never had to do this before, so it'll be something like that, yes.
So on regular game days, someone's supervising, making sure that all happens?
Yeah, as soon as we finish shoot around on normal game day, they walk right into Club 35, and their lunch is provided for them, and our nutritionist is in there, and we take their hydration level, and she kind of helps them make sure they eat the right stuff and take care of their bodies, and if they aren't hydrated, then she gives them the appropriate stuff to hydrate for the next 4 hours, I guess it is, before tip. So yeah.
And how frequently are they on their own?
What to eat?
Yeah.
Most of the time they're on their own. Yeah, most of the time they're on their own. But no, if we're on the road, they're not, of course. If we're here night before, day of, we may provide it a little bit more at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
With all the technology you have, you surprised to see people still get cramps? I mean, the way you monitor them and the way there's,
Yeah, I mean, it's just so different, right? I mean, we got snacks on the bench now, and drinks, and granola bars and fruit snacks, and so I don't know if I'm surprised. I mean, it's just happening at every level. You see it out, the Major League Soccer, all watching the World Cups, and the NBA guy. I mean, it happens. Maybe a little more, probably. I'd agree with you a little bit. Like, I'm sometimes shocked by it. But it's hard. These kids don't want to hydrate, sometimes the right way. And just like the rest of us, I don't drink enough water myself. And they're playing and doing the things that, their bodies are their temple, and you got to take care of it. And they don't always understand that at the level that we want them to. And I think the ones that do understand it probably take care of it a little bit better.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank y'all.